Um,
Yep.
the patch is insane, man. It seems insane.
It changes a lot of stuff.
I'm
So
just
that's
in
cool.
I'm just in God mode trying to like test out some things.
Yeah. The biggest change in game feel is the training thing, that you can train 10 supply instead of 16.
Yeah. Without an
So that really changes a lot of like the game flow, and you kind of always want to open with 2 Legion halls in the beginning, in my opinion, right now, because you can't fully produce from one, so you will have a lot of money if you don't build 2.
Interesting. Yeah, okay. You're always behind, I guess, right?
Yeah, because like in the past, if you built like 1 Legion hall and then that finished, you could fully produce from it. And now, since you can only build half, you will have like 200 alloy to spare that you can't really use. So then you can just build 2
So yeah,
straight away
mate.
instead.
Yeah, exactly. But because by the time you hit the next production cycle, you've already, yeah, you could have already just spent that cash and got it back anyway.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it seemed to be shaping up that way anyways. When I watched like Magical play, he often built 2 anyways.
Yeah.
In the old patch in the beginning, because you kind of want that 32 supply to be out on the map and have a force that can do stuff.
Yeah.
So then you can just get it fast and just produce from that. And now I think that's cemented, that the opening should always be like expand, double Legion Hall or double altar, and go from there.
Yeah, interesting. It makes sense. As you say, I think it was trending that way because particularly, I mean, a couple of reasons, I guess, but with pillar pushing being so strong and or just having map control being so important.
Yeah.
Interesting, man.
And it's hard,
Like,
especially with Kuroth, they don't have, in my opinion, super attractive units in the Soul Foundry in the early game.
Yeah, I agree.
You kind of need the bulk of Siparia and the Zephyrs and stuff.
Yeah. Previously, I would often go Legion Hall Soul Foundry, not to build Soul Foundry units, but just so that I could go Angelarium whenever I wanted to, and I'd end up building 2 rounds of Legion Hall units anyway. But with the production changes, I guess, yeah, right. So that changes it too, right? Because then you're less incentivized to do that because you can't produce as much.
Harder to tech, I guess, in a way. If you don't want to play a bit like scared, you can, go 2 production rounds and get the same amount of units. But so I guess, there could be a possibility, I guess, to go for a tech route. 1 Legion Hall, Soul Foundry, Angelarium for quick air or something, and just produce as you go.
Pigeon just wrote sad Absolver noises in the Twitch chat, which I think is hilarious and also true, man. Like, they just don't.
I love the Absolver design. I think they're super cool, but whenever I build them, I feel they're kind of lackluster.
Yeah, they're just not quite there. Like, even with the buff they got, they're just still not there yet. Totally agree.
I think they need to be super quick or something. I don't really know. Or tankier or something.
Yeah, maybe tankier. Maybe like shoot up by default. Then at least then at least they'd be more. You'd be more likely to build them early to help defend against harass too. Then.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. If they maybe could shoot up if they're not deployed, so it's not too strong.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk some about the new abilities?
Yeah. Tell me about. So I was just playing around in God mode with the Mala ones.
Yeah. Mala seems super strong. She's like definitely the best right now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
From like played a few games, but that's the feeling.
Yeah. What do you think is what's the main difference, or what's the thing making the most difference, you think, with that?
The Red Harvest is really strong. You get that regen, the Vampirism aura.
Yeah.
So stuff is really have a lot of staying power. And Masked Hunters with Offering were strong before as well.
Yeah.
So now, if I play Ajari versus a Mala player, I feel I have to stay in my base until I have a pretty big force so that I can contest like the Masked Hunters with Offering with Red Harvest.
Because is Red Harvest is lifesteal and spawn Kittles on death,
Kittle
right?
spawn on death,
Yeah. Okay.
And since you can move it around, you also can follow your army with it, and it's pretty long time. So I think it lasts for a pretty long while. So you can have a pretty good fight with that.
Yeah, and
so that's
even
the main one I've been playing around with Red Harvest.
Interesting, because you don't even really you don't want to infuse into that either, because you'll just and you don't have infuse, I guess, now as Ajari.
That's true. With Ajari, you don't have infuse, and I guess Red Harvest and Heaven's Aegis is the replacements for the old infuse.
Okay.
They're kind of similar in some ways, since they buff the units and give you some sort of better fighting power.
Interesting, man.
But I think the Red Harvest seems stronger than Heaven's Aegis, because Heaven's Aegis gives move speed and this barrier that blocks one instance of damage.
Yeah.
Which seems pretty strong. I think it's good if you face like heavy, like stuff that does a lot of damage in one hit.
Yeah.
But against like masked hunters, it's not as strong.
Yeah. Exactly. And you still that's good for tanking, so you can get up in their face. But then if you if you're just facing more Kittle when you kill stuff,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's also a big deal, that you get a lot of Kittles, so you get the frontliners in a way, you know, when stuff dies. And it also snowballs the fight. So if you're winning even more, and if you're losing, you get some Kittles, so maybe you can turn it around. It seems pretty strong. I haven't played super much with it, but the games that I've had, I felt like it's nice to be Mala, because you have super strong masked hunters.
Yeah.
With a good ability.
Yeah, and I think pre-patch, Zard and Matt were talking about a new offering timing, and so that with the production changes, that sounds like it'd be even better.
Yeah, because their build kind of worked in the same way as the new production changes. You build a few units, you build a structure, you build a few units, you build an upgrade, and you kind of more in that rhythm. And now that rhythm is more built into the game, and
it's kind
your
of
opponent has to. Yeah. So I think that build is really strong, and that's basically 2 altars and a neurosite, and then you just pump up to 32 supply of masked hunters and run around with offering and be annoying everywhere. And it's pretty strong.
Plus Red Harvest, all right.
Yeah. So I think Red Harvest just makes that stronger. I haven't played around with Prophet's Favor that much. I've faced it a little bit. It seems much harder to play with. That's the one that upgrades units.
Yeah.
If stuff dies. And that's also unmovable, and that's a big deal, I think.
Yeah.
The area isn't super big, and you can't move it around. So you really need to know, okay, this is the fight. So it's more like the pillar, I guess.
Yeah, okay. But it upgrades stuff that doesn't die. So yeah, I guess it's movable would probably make a big difference there. You can try and catch dying units that way.
So I guess you kind of want to place this when you attack a natural or something where your opponent has to defend.
Yeah.
So they can't really run around it.
It's almost Well, like at any point you need to run into a choke point.
Yeah.
I'm gonna suicide into this choke point. Yeah, it's hard to see how that is as good, but yeah, interesting, man.
Yeah, so I don't know. And also there's some weird bug with the Red Harvest. If you play 2 Mala, the person who gets the area of the ability over a unit first will get the Kittle if the unit dies.
Ooh.
So if both players have Red Harvest, the one that kind of made the ability to move over a unit will get the Kittle first.
Okay, so rather than it just spawning one for each player and cancelling out.
So it's kind of a weird interaction if you play Mala versus Mala.
Cool.
Between those abilities.
Yeah, alpha thing. I mean, it sounds like the kind of thing they'll just patch.
Yeah, I think so. And Rain of Blood is basically the same, but it's not global anymore. I don't know if they tweak the numbers.
I was reading it because it looks like the life gen is global, but the mana isn't.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I wasn't sure how it worked before exactly, so I wasn't like, did it just have a mana and life global? Were they both global before?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay, right. Makes sense.
And And my feeling is the Mala is pretty much stronger than Ajari, but Ajari is definitely playable. But Salvation, the ultimate, seems kind of broken at the moment. It doesn't really work because when your units die, they teleport back to where you placed Ajari, and it's a pretty big area. But if you like targeting is still on the unit, so it dies, it moves back, and it still gets shot with shots from enemy units if they're in range, and even if projectiles that were in the air that hadn't hit yet.
Right, so often the units teleport and then insta die anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That's I've just tried it once, but it was a maxed out fight. I think 10 units died, 1 unit survived of those 10, and all the others just died basically instantly. And they also keep their attack command, so they just run back into the fray with 25% hit points and just die.
Right. Okay.
So that one doesn't really work.
Yeah,
sadly, and it's super expensive, 200 Pyre, so you can't afford it.
Yeah. Really. Okay. Yeah. So it's the cost to power ratio there's not nearly close enough.
No. And I think even if it was cheap, even if it was like 50 Pyre, I think I would want to just play Heaven's Aegis or Deliver from Evil instead. I'm not a big fan of the ability as it is right now. I think they need to tweak it quite a lot to make it good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can see how you could make it worth the 200 Pyre, but it'll need some changes. It's cool.
Yeah,
I like the concept.
Basically, have all your units die at the same time, also, which is hard.
Yeah, true.
Because the time it stays up isn't super long. I don't know if it's like I made a video of it, but it's 10 or 15, 20 seconds, something like that.
Gotcha. I might just see what the doggo's doing. 1 sec.
Yeah.
Alright, we're back.
Alright. Just checking the video here to see the time. Yeah, I think it's 10 seconds. The altar stays up.
Is this Salvation?
So the Salvation, yeah.
Yeah.
So you basically have to have a perfect 10 seconds where a lot of stuff dies, and then you have to be super quick, grab your units, and send them back home so that they can regen or something.
It needs...
I think maybe it would work better, Kurath versus Kurath. Maybe, because it's not just range units. Perhaps, I don't know.
Yeah, with all which do projectiles pretty much.
Yeah.
Interesting, man.
But the new Deliver from Evil is better. It's a bigger area, so that's cool.
Oh, sweet. Okay, it doesn't say that. Right, that doesn't say it in the patch notes. That's why, I guess.
Yeah, but it's pretty big area, so you can basically teleport a pretty big army home. So you can go for like a push and then teleport home.
Wait, okay. Oh, cool.
So that's strong. That's a big buff to Ajari for sure.
Yeah. And what was it like when you've used Heaven's Aegis? Do you think it's better than Infuse?
It's super hard to know how good it is. Infuse was much easier to see. You get that speed buff, you get that attack speed buff.
Yeah.
It's very easy to see the impact.
Yeah.
Heaven's Aegis is super hard to gauge. How good it is. I like to use it because it's easy. It's activated and your stuff is tougher.
Yeah. Straightforward conceptually.
Yeah, so I've used it some, but I don't know if it's good or not. I guess I've played a lot versus Mala, and as I said before, like Masked Hunters kind of deals pretty good with it since it's just a one instance block of damage.
Yeah.
I'm thinking versus like versus Orzum or something. If you play versus Centauri, I can see like Sipari really crushing that fight with Heaven's Aegis.
Yeah. It's interesting, dude. And so, where does this put Orzum and Xol then?
I haven't played Orzum since the patch, and I haven't even seen anyone else play it. So it seems like no one loves Orzum anymore.
I mean, the Mala changes sound quite strong, so
Yeah. I can see Orzum struggling maybe even more against early game Mala at the moment, since you don't have that Centauri like power spike in the same way with the new production.
Yeah, right, of course. Ah, interesting, man. Has the production, so I can see how production would impact the early game, right? Does it, has it kind of had an impact on mid and late game, or does that kind of end up equaling out because you've got a lot of production instructions by then anyway?
It's not as big, but I've definitely felt it a couple of times. Like I've been wanting to mass some unit, and it's like you can't produce more. That has basically never happened before. With the old patch, I was almost always able to spend all my money, but now I've been a few times where it's like, oh yeah, that's right, I can only build like 9 Sipari at the time or something if I have 3 Legion halls.
Yeah, and
so
then
say that I have 3 Legion halls and then I go like 1 Soul Foundry, one Angularium. You are a little bit like limited in your basic unit production there.
And I guess you can't transition as hard either, right? Like if you scout something late, you can't just transition by. Like I know I've certainly done a hard transition into Zephyrs before.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they're Legion Hall units anyway, but
yeah, the Legion Hall units are definitely easier because you will still build Legion Halls. But even on those units, I've felt that just I'm full up on production right now. And one change that I've made is I've built 2 Angulariums instead of 1, because before I could build 2 Charus at the same time. Now we can only build 1, so that's a big change as well.
Yeah, so Unbeknown in chat was just saying that you can't anymore just build Legion Halls as houses to produce from 1 Angularium.
Yeah.
Orzum
so with
haters
growth,
unite.
it's definitely that, going for double Angularium.
Yeah, cool. I think that's good though, because that was always a bit weird. Like you didn't often actually need to build multiple Soul Foundries or Angulariums. Not that you'd build multiple Soul Foundries. I guess for Hallows, you might.
Yeah, I think as Orzum, I think you could go for double Soul Foundry for some artillery. Yeah.
Wow.